Hello everyone, first news update for 21st of March. Now it's 10 past 12, middle of the day by Moscow time, and even though the day is quite slow news-wise, I have prepared quite a number of reports on some important developments. Hopefully you will find this update interesting and useful. It is a Friday, so I hope you will have a wonderful day and a great upcoming weekend. And that's being said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, I'll give you this report from RIA Novosti news agency that Russian air defense systems on duty intercepted 43 Ukrainian drones overnight, early hours of this morning. And to be more precise, 34 drones were intercepted over the territory of Belgorod region, 4 drones each over the Rostov and Kursk regions, and also 1 drone over the territory of Belgorod region. At this point, Russian media is not sharing some details if there was any casualties on the ground or more or less significant damage. If any update on that, of course I will share additional information in the next updates. Also interesting report from Vzгляд news paper, which is based on Russian Defense Ministry, that according to which during their previous 24 hours, and this report is from yesterday afternoon, so during the previous 24 hours, Kiev regime lost up to 150 military personnel and 4 tanks in the Belgorod direction only. And as I reported in previous days, Kiev regime was sending on a suicidal operations, offensives, its units in Belgorod direction to achieve some breakthrough. And Kiev regime's propaganda outlets even start spreading their misinformation that Kiev regime's forces managed to establish control over their Dmitrovka settlement. For example, this one right next to the border, although Russian sources rejected this information, Defense Ministry rejected this information, and according to reports that we are receiving, in last 3 to 4 days, in this direction alone, Kiev regime lost about 300 military personnel and 3 dozen, if not more at this point, different type of armored vehicles. Border is under Russian control, and small groups of Kiev regime's forces are scattered on this borderline area in the forests, and they are trying to hide and retreat from their territory. But still most likely Kiev regime will continue its attempts to attack Belgorod direction, because as far as I understand, this way Zelensky and his criminal associates are trying to divert attention of the public from disaster that Kiev regime suffered and Kiev regime's forces in the Kursk salient area. I'm quite sure that in no circumstances Kiev regime will be able to conduct a similar scale of incursion into Russian territory as they did in the Kursk salient area. And by the way, when it comes to Kursk salient, I am still positive that that was a trap from the beginning, and maybe I cannot know for sure, obviously, but maybe some Russian military intelligence, Russian militaries, high-level militaries were informed about that incursion in a Kursk direction that happened in 2024, and maybe it was a plan from the beginning to create a trap there for armed forces of Kiev regime and decimate this armed group that was created, basically armed, trained by NATO, especially for the purpose of invasion into Kursk region. And in whatever the case, Kursk salient actually worked as a trap. No matter some high-ranking officers in Russian armed forces or intelligence knew about this incursion up front or not, Kursk salient clearly play significant role as a trap to destroy this last more or less battle-capable reserves that Kiev regime had. And as I said, I'm positive that in no circumstances Kiev regime will be able to pull off such a scale of incursion into Russian territory ever. But still, they're going to send their troops on these suicidal missions in a Belgorod direction, maybe even in a Kursk direction, some other areas, because when Zelensky really cared about death toll among Kiev regime's forces, never. And what about NATO bosses of the Zelensky? Of course, they don't care about casualties on side of Kiev regime too. Never did. Anyways, dear friends, RIA Novosti is also reporting that head of Russian General Staff, Valery Gerasimov, inspected their central group of forces, which is operating among other areas also in Toretsk direction or Krasnoarmeysk direction. And I'm quite sure soon we will see some significant activization of the Russian operations in that particular area and on the inter-zone of responsibility of that central group of forces. Let's see. Meanwhile, according to the Vzгляд News paper, official spokeswoman of the Russian Foreign Ministry made a statement about a violation of energy ceasefire by Kiev regime, and this violation happened in the first 24 hours after ceasefire was declared. They're absolutely not surprising. We all knew this would happen, and it did happen, right? So Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova reported that Kiev violated the ceasefire proposed by US President Donald Trump by attacking oil pumping station in the Krasnodar region using drones. According to her, Kiev has already violated the ceasefire proposed by Trump, noting that the question raises as to how Washington is going to deal with this situation. Zakharova recalled that just in a few hours after the negotiations where the ceasefire was discussed, Ukrainian forces sent 3 drones to attack the Kavkazskaya oil pumping station in the Krasnodar region. The diplomat stressed that this raises the question of the US ability to control the behavior of its Ukrainian partners. And it is true, by the way. It is true. It took only a few hours before the Kiev regime violated this ceasefire. Even though, according to reports, after Russian president ordered to hold all the strikes on energy infrastructure of the Kiev regime, 7 Russian drones were intercepted by Russian air defense systems because they were targeting exactly the energy infrastructure of the Kiev regime. So in order to not violate this agreement, to honor this agreement, Russian air defense systems intercepted their own drones, right? And it only took a few hours for Kiev regime to violate ceasefire. And the question is absolutely legit: how US is going to implement whatever agreements might be reached in the future if Kiev regime is violating already existing agreement just in a few hours. I did not hear any statements from US on this matter, so I wonder if Trump or his administration even informed about it, and if they are, they should have some reaction, because this is embarrassing for US. It should be embarrassing, right? Anyways, Kiev regime violated ceasefire not just by attacking that oil depot, but also by destroying gas pipeline in borderline area of the Kursk region, in the Kursk salient area, and we have reports on that. Also, Ukrainian troops have attacked a key gas pipeline in western Russia that was previously used to deliver gas to European Union. Telegram news channels have claimed, according to Mash and Baza news channels, Kiev's forces damaged the Suja gas measuring station in the Kursk region overnight from Thursday to Friday. Videos circulating online shows a large fire at the facility. It is unclear whether the station was hit by kamikaze drone or artillery. The authorities have not commented on the reported incident, and this is the video. By the way, I shared this video on my Telegram channel also. That's the video. Clearly this station was damaged, and there seems like there was a significant volume of gas in the pipes there. And let me show you on the map location of that pipeline. This is a Kursk salient area territory that are temporarily still controlled by Kiev regime's forces, and that's the station, by the way. This is the area where that fire was recorded, right? So let's see how US is going to react on these violations of their ceasefire. And if there will be no reaction from Washington, then how should Russia continue all these talks with Washington or any other party on topic of de-escalation if as it was predicted, there is not really any mechanisms in the place to ensure that agreements are followed by parties? Some basic questions that needs to be answered, and let's see how Washington will react. When it comes to Kursk salient area, dear friends, it is the fifth or sixth day in a row, isn't it, that we are not receiving any reports about some changes on the ground. Seems like these 4 pockets that you see on your screen right now, mainly around the areas of Garnal and Aleshnya, are still under control of Kiev regime, and I find it really difficult to understand what is going on there. Russian troops in a week's time, after the last major offensive in the Kursk salient area, established control over the almost entire area, entire salient, with the exception of this borderline strip. And now for almost a week, no changes in this direction. I wonder what is happening. Maybe exactly this is the areas where some NATO officers, foreign mercenaries, and Kiev regime's thousands of Kiev regime's troops are trapped, and there may be some behind the closed door negotiations are taking place to force them lay down arms and surrender or something, because absence of changes on the battle map clearly raises the questions, isn't it? What is going on? Hello everyone, if you find this video interesting and useful, please click that like button, leave some commentary and share with your friends. If you like my work and want to support this project, you can do it through several means. All the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment, including links to my Patreon and Boosty pages, where you can have access to full shows in case you are interested. Thank you.